Come with me while we cook with strangers and learn about their lives together. My name is Anand Deshpande, and this is Kindred Kitchen.
Tell me your story.
There are so many people out there who have dedicated their whole lives to helping others heal their traumas, and Teresa is one of them. She's a community organizer and founder of multiple initiatives, like the nonprofit The Trauma Project, helping the world in healing trauma. I'm excited to be visiting with her in one of my favorite places, Mexico City.
Something that I think is a beautiful aspect of working in the trauma space that I've come across. Every single person's story has usually started with difficulty in their own journey, them going through their own process of healing and understanding of themselves,
Right.
and then wanting to share this with other people. Something that is actually such a natural part of our life and death cycle is the aspect of death. And also you see so many people who have a lot of difficulty with aging because there's a lot of fear of mortality.
She and I have known each other for a few years, but today I'm getting to hang out with her one-on-one for the first time. And we'll be cooking congee, a rice porridge that always makes her feel safe and at home. Her healing journey was unfortunately jump-started when her partner suddenly passed in a tragic traffic accident while he was en route to go see her.
Did a yoga teacher training. I very typically moved to Bali.
When in doubt, find an island.
Well, you know, it was all very connected. I was going to Australia to go to the funeral service. And as luck would have it, many people that day before I left, I think it was like 7 people asked me if I was going to go to Bali because it's close. So I went to Bali, did a lot of different types of trainings, went deep into the wellness practice, and I think in all of that practice, it's also where I came into working with plant medicine. It's where I learned about Vipassana, a 10-day silent meditation retreat, and subsequently sat with plant medicine, subsequently went to a 10-day meditation retreat. And I think in modern society, there's a lot of wanting things fast, wanting things immediate, kind of like the Amazon model. I want this to arrive at my doorstep, or I want to take a pill and have something go away. Especially with a lot of work with psychedelics and plant medicines, you know, I think there's a misconception that we can turn to something, take it quickly, and have an answer and be healed. And one of the biggest lessons that I really appreciate learning through my work with plant medicine and just generally working through trauma is that healing's actually really slow. Well, there's a little bit of an and. Healing is slow. It's a lifetime thing, especially depending on what you're working through. And at the same time, awareness can happen fast. In between the slowness and the fastness is a big part of the work, which is integration. And, you know, things can happen in the therapist's office or your own different healing modalities. And also what's important to know is how we actually bring what we learn into our everyday lives and how we integrate it into our relationships, into our words, into our actions is also a big part of the healing.
Yeah, absolutely. It almost is like your first point where we want these therapies, these medicines, these whatever, to do the work for us. But it's the action that we do in our day-to-day. That's what actually does the healing. Or rather completes the healing. So why is it important to talk about trauma?
Why is it important to talk about trauma?
I don't want to talk about trauma. I don't want to talk about it.
Well, you know, only in due time. It's always in due time.
Uh-huh.
I think it's important I mean, I can speak from my own experience, which is that it was impacting the way that I was able to live. It was impacting my relationships without me knowing. Something that was fascinating to learn was there's something called the ACE score, early childhood, adverse childhood experiences. And the more early childhood adverse experiences that you have, they've directly correlated it to some of the top 10 killers, like lung disease, heart disease, lung cancer, diabetes, obesity, suicidality, depression, alcoholism. And so I think this was a really big realization for the world in connecting what can be something, an experience that happens with you, to what then manifests in your body as illness and disease later on in life.
Wow.
Okay.
All right, let's cook this up.
All right, oil.
So it sounds like a really big part of all of this actually is friends. People to do this with, to help you, be proxies and to...
Yeah, that has been a really big lesson. You know, I think there's sometimes a desire when it comes to trauma and healing to want to go inwards, because there can be a lot of emotions around it, like shame and guilt and fear, and not to mention that oftentimes when it comes to trauma, in relation with other people, there can be a factor of then having to bring attention and awareness to something else that someone has done. There can be a lot of fear in that. There can be pressure. There can be just outside influences that make it so you feel like you're very much alone.
Yeah.
And what's great is that it's another both and, that a lot of the work, some of the work can happen individually.
Yeah.
And sometimes I believe a lot of the nature of trauma happening interrelationally, that the healing also has to happen in relationship. There's something that within trauma, especially that happens between people, the moment that the trauma occurs, I feel like the relationship or the interworkings of the relationship can get damaged.
Yeah.
Like the ability for me to trust, the ability for me to speak, the ability for me to be heard or witnessed or feel safe with other people. In the same way that that part of the relationship can be damaged when we're doing our healing, it also has to happen in relationship.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that the people involved in your trauma have to be involved in your healing, but you have to have relationship that can help you with that healing. Is that right?
Yeah, I think even if it's with your therapist, if it's with a trusted friend, or even an anonymous group of strangers, that ability to relate, communicate, trust with someone else needs to be restored. So this first step is somehow getting to a part where you realize I'm not the only one who has experienced this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's a bit of an epiphany when that happens, because it somehow breaks you out of this part that you felt so alone. Actually, it's something that I have found recently to be an important revelation is all of our healing can be done in this present moment. I think I spent so much of my time looking backwards and trying to understand, so much effort and energy around why did this happen, what were the intentions, what were the motives, and that'll still serve me in some way or another.
Yeah.
And what's really beautiful is, beautiful and also sad, all of the past can be found in the ways that we are in the present. in our relationships, in our work, in ourselves, in the way that we think about ourselves, the way that we treat ourselves, the way that we move about the world. All of the past can actually be found in the present moment. And so what's great, especially for people who may not have memories, is to know that the healing, we don't have to necessarily look backwards in order to heal.
Yeah, I mean, the reason we're looking at the past, if you're looking at the past, is in order to heal the current time anyway, right? Because it's affecting the current time.
Yeah. And that's what, trauma, the way that I kind of shared at dinner table conversations or cooking dinner with friends,
Yes.
is it's something that happened to us in the past. And at that moment that it happened, we didn't necessarily have the faculties to process everything right then and there. And so that imprint or the energy or the memory gets stored, and it almost is like frozen in the body. And to talk a little bit about the brain, when trauma happens, our body creates cortisol, the stress hormone. And cortisol will flood a part of the brain called the hippocampus, which stamps, almost as like the time stamping functionality. It is, this has started and this has ended. And when the brain is flooded with cortisol, it loses that functionality. And so the memory right at that time is almost like floating in this limbo.
Yeah.
And it continues to persist into our future, telling our bodies that this is still happening, even though it's ended.
Yeah.
And so when we're doing work with trauma, it's working with what's alive in our current body, and to now bring our faculties online to be with what we couldn't be with at that moment in time.
Yeah.
Expand our window of tolerance to be with ourselves. And all goes back to self-love anyways. For the sake of saying it,
Yeah.
I do hold the belief that I think trauma work is something that can save the world.
Yeah?
Yeah, if you think about it, even just speaking from my own experience, from what place do I make decisions if I'm wounded internally, if I haven't found the understanding how to love myself, have compassion for myself, and therefore extend that love and compassion to others, forgiveness. There are so many universal concepts that come on the path of healing.
Okay.
And when I think about those people who are making global decisions, policymakers, sometimes I see a bunch of angry, grown men who are still little teeny tiny children in their bodies with unresolved wounding.
Yeah.
And instead, if we were able to come to a place where we've done the internal healing,
Yeah.
and on that path, there's just no way that you don't find self-compassion, compassion for others, forgiveness, self-love,
Yeah.
love of others, connection to your community, connection to the land, a desire to look for solutions that don't involve violence or war. The world will be a better place.
I mean, one thing that's interesting is like what you're talking about. You're saying like healing from trauma, but everything you just said sounds like spiritual enlightenment. Many people would think that that's what that sounds like. No? What's the difference?
I don't think we have enough time to dive into trauma work versus spiritual enlightenment. If you're asking me, yeah, I found them to be one and the same path.
Like this?
So yeah, why were you interested in talking about trauma?
You know, I think that for me, I see so many people that need to talk about things, don't necessarily know how. Maybe they don't know where to turn. or they're working on it and they don't know that there are people that like are so versed in it. I'm lucky to have somehow come across people like you in my life, be able to learn about these things just by happenstance. I don't think I ever went out actually looking to work on my trauma. But then there I was with all these people that know what they're doing and that could teach me, you know?
And have you found that since going into it, you've had your own experiences with healing?
Yeah, I think so. And I think I've been able to work with the people I love around me a lot better too. I think that's been really wonderful.
What do you think? Some salsa matcha?
Hell yes, we're in
Back to
Mexico.
Mexico.
Absolutely.
Drizzle?
Drizzle, drizzle. Beautiful.
There's also something to say about if you believe in the intergenerational healing that can happen epigenetically.
Yeah.
I see it as if I do this healing now in my time, perhaps it won't pass on
Yeah.
to my future generations,
Absolutely.
to the children that I have.
Absolutely.
And that's my way of contributing to the future.
Your children are already inside of you as eggs.
Yeah.
When you were an egg inside of your mom.
That's right.
And
Yeah,
when these
I love
traumas
that.
are happening throughout these generations, you were already there.
Yeah.
Right?
That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we eat?
Yes, I'm so hungry.
Okay, let's go. I'm so excited for this. Buen provecho.
So happy to be sharing a meal with you in Mexico
too.
City. Talking about really light topics.
It's always easier with food, and this is really good food. I didn't even grow up eating this, but I still feel like home.
Doesn't it? It just it kind of goes in your belly in a certain way, and it feels soft and warm and homey. The perfect amount of umami. Perfect amount of spice.
Ooh, mommy.
Umami.
So, I one time heard a healer talking about how this concept of like, we're hospice workers for the old world order. Meaning, hospice workers, they work with folks who are transitioning. And in that necessary step, they give them kindness, but they help them transition away and bring in the new. What do you think about that? Do you feel like we're in a moment of transition societally? Do you feel like with trauma, healing becoming more and more common and people talking about it more? Do you feel like there's a big transitioning happening?
That is a great question. Very complex. Probably not one answer, as there never is. I feel unlike many of my peers, I would say. I actually feel quite hopeful. Which is funny to come from someone who works in trauma. You might think that it might be very depressing. But I think what I was alluding to earlier was I do feel like we are in a time of healing and that there are more and more people being called to healing and more people stepping into wanting to serve and create more spaces of love and community.
Yeah.
Has that been done before? Probably. Are we doing it better? Maybe. What do you think?
But I want to live in a world that's getting better, and I want to live in a world, and I have plenty of evidence to show that it is. So, that's what I feel.
I agree. We have to.
Yes, we have to. What other choice do we have?
If you're going to choose one way or the other, why not choose the way that gives you hope?
Exactly. That's exactly right. Thank you so much for sharing with me, sharing your journey with me, and for sharing your food with me. This is, like I said, I didn't grow up with this, but it's bringing me home.
Yeah. Well, wherever I am, this will most likely be. And you're always welcome.
Amazing. Thank you.
Love you.
Te agradezco. Voy llegar a mi interior. Tus calores me llevan adentro.
So I've got a hot take. What if becoming a superhero doesn't happen through a radioactive spider bite? What if it happens through healing? By becoming whole, we can save the world. Or at least the part of it that we're a part of. Healing means that we're able to fully show up for ourselves and the people around us, compassionately and with empathy. It allows us to act consciously rather than just react from trauma. And we all have the seed of healing within us, which means that we all have the real start to our superpower within us. But to save the world, it's going to take a lot of us making the decision to hone our superpower through healing. And healing can feel scary. It can feel hard. But often, it leads to more joy and more freedom than we'd ever think was possible. Healing is not just a gift to ourselves, but to future generations and our communities. And I want to help build a happier and freer world. And I hope you do too. My name is Anand Deshpande, and this is Kindred Kitchen. Hey folks, Anand here. Thanks so much for joining us in the Kindred Kitchen today. This is part 3 of 3. So if you haven't checked out the first 2 parts, please go ahead and do so through the links. Next week, we're going to post the entire episode with all parts together. Please like, share, subscribe if you haven't. It really helps. Love to hear from you. There's no way we can cover everything in these topics. Please go ahead and comment below and join the discussion. We want to learn together. And until next time, don't forget to share your food and your stories too.
Tell me your story.